Hey guys, Merry Christmas. We're coming at you live from the lonely streets of Canada on Christmas evening. It's kind of a weird, dreary day for Christmas, but nonetheless, here we are. I have my hat on, has a little propeller on the top. Got that from my grandpa. Got back from family over in Toronto. I haven't really wanted to record this video. I feel very hesitant, especially walking down the street alone at night. And I wonder if it's an interesting place to start. That hesitation, that pit at the bottom of my stomach, that performance, that recognition of being on foot, on stage, of the depletion of the contents of my stomach in this digestion that nature seems to require. The real depression and sinking into deterioration and compost of life.
There's not just anybody. There's certainly not nobody. But there's somebody here.
There's not anybody. There's these bodies here, right? Here's a body here, and you know that body will turn you into parts, will make you into an idea, will, who knows, could scrap you entirely. And you know, the body over there, this body's referring to, it's probably already done the same. It's this strange situation. It might be all too familiar. And I guess I wonder, from where are these things really on? Like, do you hear that? Like, if we just hung out there for a moment, just that mutual recognition, just being with that namelessness, that fire. It's like an alarm bell going off almost. What's around? What is it? What are these ideas? What swims through our mind? What are you feeling? That again.
What are you afraid of? What are you thinking about right now?
Could I say something? Could I make the time feel more complete? Could I conclude? Could I take a bow? Did the curtains close already?
You might not even know you're thinking about.
Well, maybe I'll get on and say something. Wouldn't that be convenient? I play this game with my dog sometimes, or I'll just stare at him from across the room. And, you know, it's a bit out of the ordinary, I guess, at first. And he'll kind of look at me. And, you know, it's not very long until he's back to the next whiff, hint of something. But, you see, the observation here is, what if I played the same game with my brother? Or, God forbid, a stranger on the bus? My hands are getting cold. I'm not very well dressed for the weather, but it's good enough. It's 5 degrees here on Christmas, which is bizarre. But I thought it fit the matter. You know, that might not be the best way to make friends, but it might not be the best way to make a friend. There is a violation. There's a violation, perhaps, in that recognition of, you know, just one boulder smashing into another, of just stopping for a second. What's this all about? Like, this whole game of, you know, one billiard ball hitting the other, you know, what? I'm holding this phone, walking in the street. What's keeping this phone in the air? Why don't I just stop, drop, and roll and just fuck off? You know, what is this all about? It's a question that teenagers get stuck in, I guess, and other, I don't know, imprisoned, agonizing souls on this journey. And, you know, you fuck off, you know, things start to droop and hang and not always smell too good, and there's this stickiness between everything, and, you know, you go off and read Nietzsche or do something, you know. When we come to this common sentiment, it seems, from what I've heard around, you know, it's like, this stomach is slowly emptying. My bills, my family, my work in this life, it's endless. It's bottomless. I'm not going to find an answer, and that's my answer. So I might as well just get on with things and, you know, sit down and shut the fuck up. But you know, enough cards fall and we're back with the same pit. That same urge for my hand to, to go back home, to not bear the cold, my hand slowly freezing. I don't wear hand cream, so my hand is like a shriveled up grape. And you see, in this, I turn to the saintly religious figures we all know and love. The Buddha. It's radical. He fucked off from the entire gambit, and he saw the deterioration, I think, the digestion, the elimination, the excretion of nature, nature's depression, that sinking, that deterioration, that emptying of the stomach, and that urgency of Jesus Christ, like we have all these problems, I need to go work and keep this whole thing going, and the jump into the mind, into ideology or all the rest, into exclusionary thinking, terror management. I like this idea of convenience, of, we gotta act, and we gotta act fast. We cannot bear that state of discomfort, I think, because really, I'd rather not. It's endless. And the Buddha fucked off entirely from his family, from his obligation, from all of it. He didn't settle for convenience. He had it all made as well, but he couldn't find a way out. What went up kept falling back down, and that's a radical notion. This is a little bit extreme, if you ask me. And we all know the moral of the story and what happened from there. But that dark night, or the Christ, when I think of the divinities, when I think of the good things in life, the first thing that comes to my mind is not, slowly scabbing to a wooden cross, dehydrating, asphyxiating under the Egyptian sun, like a sun-dried tomato. That's a bad way to go. It's not exactly my first choice. So what is this agonizing that this thing seems to demand out of us? And this unwillingness to bear that, I think of this as a negative freedom, because it's right there. It's right under our noses. It seems to come with the territory of what makes us different than that rock smashing into another, from that dog just off to one sensation or another, to really slow down and notice our own, noticing our own, mystery. It's a strange thing.
Our activity, for better and for worse.
And I fell into this quite deeply. I was that silly high schooler. I didn't quite read Nietzsche, but I really wondered, because I saw this inevitable falling, and I really wondered, as I ticked each box of success and ambition to my, enough of my satisfaction, and really failed in certain ways, and really wondered, why do I get out of bed? Why do I really bother with this whole thing? Why do I care what other people think? Why do I not walk down the street with a stupid hat on and embarrass myself in front of my neighbors, and, not put a jacket on and do the rest of these silly sorts of things? Maybe that's familiar in some sense. In some sense, maybe that's familiar. What a strange situation, a strange state. And to really surrender, to really just let go. Imagine that. Touch that radicality with me, if you'd be so willing. I'm not saying to do anything or to go anywhere. I think this is the point in the video where I recommend my book or my online course and my solutions and my fix or whatever. And I, ask to see the contents of your wallet, perhaps. And that would be so tempting, wouldn't it? Because we'd be right back to the convenience shopping, taking a trip to the convenience store, managing our terror. Because what else are we going to do? We're going to go just fuck off and not really bother with the whole thing. So we're stuck. What's keeping this hand in the air? And this is really the rub, if you ask me. This might be the moment we're all been waiting for. And I think it's precisely this forsakenness of God, of our shit and death. I'm giving you nothing. I'm giving you a fat plate of shit. But you see, I'm still calling it something. I'm still describing something familiar, something that we might all know. that we might mutually recognize, albeit with a hell of a lot of ambivalence in the rest. And I think it's from this sacrifice, or this willingness to step deeply into our subjectivity, that allows us the freedom to transcend, perhaps. It's hard. It'd be all too easy to jump forth from such a place, but to hang out, to just walk here each step at a time. What do you know? My hand is still up. The world still goes on. It's funny, if I let go of everything, what would I be doing laying in bed? What would I be doing forsaking my family? Fucking off and, I don't know, staring at a wall in a cave for years until I slowly wither away and die. Does life desire death? Does life desire death? Well, this is where we have to ask ourselves, I believe. This is where we touch what we are. It's a sacrifice, of course, because we lose everything, don't we? We lose everything in such a surrendering of our convenience and will and volition unto what? Unto pure faith, unto pure nature. You know, to really ask, to really ponder, where does this start? What is truly my purpose, my will, my volition? It's from the inside.
Necessarily, because otherwise it wouldn't be mine. Even in terms and for the sake of others, it still comes from my own care and assessment and interest as such.
And it really started for me, and it starts every day when I, make the will to get up and bother with things. From that space of noticing, of reality, of the fact that this thing is on, that here we are, that you know what I'm thinking on some level, that we are communicating here now, that the thoughts that go through my mind are similar. And that, yes, of course, there's a difference. Of course we are different. But I can understand that. That there is something here that's on, that is thinking these thoughts, that is alive, is aware, that truly recognizes its circumstance, its content, its reality, and
quite frankly creates that gap between what is me and what is you through the very fact of our similarity. Isn't it also interesting how we both share the concept of other, ourselves? What is self?
it's a really interesting question to wonder what it means for something to come from the inside. I think this is something that might be all too familiar to us sometimes of, I'm doing something for me, for myself. What would it really mean to say such a thing? How could we really know that? How could we really know that? To me, it's something we ought to work on. It's a muscle. It's an organ of my body where I think from, where I know from, where I produce a thought, where I am. Where is this happening? Where do these words mean and relate and connect and...
Can ever honest to God tell you I love you and really mean it?
Is this happening? Really go there with me right now if you're so willing. What is going on here? What is this thing? You see this? I don't know if you can. There's this, how do I know there's anything here? What? And there's 10,000 things, 10,000 explanations of brains and but how do you know any of that? Where is that? Where is that happening? I certainly don't see all those various connections in that experience. To be in that non-physical spirit is muscle, I believe, and something I see myself more and more willing to feel and exercise. And when I think about what compels me walking up and down the street, talking into my device, doing this whole thing, it takes plenty of shapes. These bodies, what's any good about this is a real multiplicity. It's not simply one or the other. And I worry at this excess of, I don't know, going on about ideas and books and pretending to something here. And very well, that's certainly a power or a function. But to what are our ideas and our minds and our freedom in terms of, where are we free from? What is our anchor? What binds us, right? What binds us? It's not merely abstraction. It's not just one idea or another. It's not just, I don't know, a fitness routine, ingredient list. But it's not any of those things. It's all of the above. You see, necessity. What is important? What is necessary? What's any good? That's, to me, what honesty is about here. It's about both sides of the coin of this freedom. Of tasting the shit so deeply till we can clear away, I don't know, fill reality with our own activity, with our own authenticity. To have the freedom, the safety, the trust, the willingness, the courage, right? To find where that starts from. And that may be in ideas, that may be in going for a run, may be in, I don't know, having the trust within myself to maintain a loving relationship, all the connections thereof. So to conclude, what I really hope to impress is a bowing to, I don't know, gratitude or resolution in the new year. What a fearful, familiar notion. I had a friend jump down my ass about, someone said something about free will and something silly, and it set me off, and he called me something about it being a zoomer and word vomiting the first things that come to my mind, and it pissed me off a lot at work. And I, of course, went right into my, you're just some asshat with a PhD, sniping down from your ivory tower anyone to bother with the same thing you came to love and hate with time and all. Anyway, this need to.
He wasn't entirely wrong, but he wasn't entirely right.
Being with that hurt,
and I could only smell the difference after anywhere between an hour to a day had passed.
Really listen to nature, to reality. Sometimes it's hard to love.
Oh my god, I am so frustrated with my conclusions last night because I cannot communicate communication. I cannot pick up the very act of picking up. But
why
I can
can't
speak
I?
around.
Isn't that a strange thing? And why can I understand that I can't?
through not understanding it. The big idea of spiritual assembly is this threading, this drawing the lines between everything that is good and bad.
I always feel the need for some sort of spiritual deep clean by the end of the year,
The
and
failure of love.
I go off into these big
The
sort
good
of
contains the very bad
manic celebrations and things, and here's a little bit of that. But
in this world imperfection,
it helps me come back to where I'm free from, so that I can continue to feel confident in my output.
I'm not
And I
going
hope
to let
so can
myself
you.
edit these again.
Because that's really what
I'm
I
not
hope
going
to bow to.
It's precisely the
with
biggest
this,
and most central ideas in the video that
I'll
should
see
be
you
the
around.
most mysterious.
Thank you for
and
sticking
trans-
around.
No, it's like this fact that things
Namaste.
take our very participation in order to even mean.
New Year.
Would you stare
Deepest
back into the
gratitude
sun
here from
after
Canada.
it slowly stared into you?
Desolate
Oh, I
lonely
sure
night.
would. That's for sure.
I'm
It
gonna go home
holds it all.
and read more of my novel.
We can't how would we ever know? Who's we gonna trust who?
Baby
bottle
Good night.
no. So some assembly may be required. There is a patience that true knowledge is unknowing. It's life. That's all. And then attempting to imply implication